When they were playing and you seen the crowds going down Robie Street and Greer Street and everything, you knew exactly right where they were going. You know, they were going downtown to see the boys play.
And everybody was behind us, snapping out lots of people, the whole community.
When the regular season ended, the Furriers had 11 wins and 5 losses and were headed into the playoffs. Cecil Jackson had a job on the trains and pleaded to get the day off for the final Maritime Championship game.
Boss said, I've been waiting for this a lifetime, so you gotta let me stand by and go out tomorrow. He said, this is very unusual, but I'm gonna grant you this wish, and you make sure you come back here with the championship tomorrow. And that's what we did.
David Downey was warming the bench, thinking about his first pro fight scheduled for that night. And then?
And someone got hurt, and I had to substitute and catch.
Yeah. Got me.
It was caught, Gary, and I said, I'm no catcher.
The Furriers won the game and the Maritime Junior title.
The whole team went crazy. The spectators come out went crazy. Everybody was jumping on. I almost got trampled. It was great. Loved it. Yeah. It was the best feeling in our lives, I think.
Greatest thing I ever done.
My grandchildren know from the beginning. Everybody at work knows. I always tell them, so it's not a surprise to anybody. And I always mention where I come from and what we've done.
They'd gone as far as a junior team could go back then. There were no nationals, so they went on with their lives.
I joined the Canadian Forces.
And I went on to be a counselor.
I was a school teacher.
Then I worked for the federal government.
Then I worked for the post office.
Most of the guys are retired now, but they still have a dream to be inducted into the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame.
We were nominated by Walter Fitzgerald.
They were also nominated by 2 others, including a provincial court judge who, as a youth, played against them that glorious year. Their nominations stood for a total of 9 years, but they never made it.
And it shouldn't be an easy thing to get into. You really got to earn it to get in there. And the Vaughan Furriers is beyond me why they're not in there now.
Jack Hardiman was there, had his own team, and was an executive member of the Nova Scotia Minor Baseball Association. Fred McGilvery was a big fan, too, and now he's chairman of the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame.
That was a great baseball team. I watched them myself as a young man.
But they were inducted into the Nova Scotia Baseball Hall of Fame after their first application.
And I know they went out there and they did integrate, and they did really well with the team.
Would that be a factor at all?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Straight performance.
Straight performance. They achieved the highest level at that time.
That was in 2002, and they're proud of that. But they feel left out in the cold by the Sport Hall of Fame.
I don't understand it, why this team isn't selected. You know, it's been a long time.
There are other very strong contenders to go into the Hall of Fame as well. We normally pick 1 team a year.
There are lots of exceptions to that, though. In 4 of the last 10 years, 2 teams were selected.
I'm sure all the other guys at the table would like to have an explanation of, aren't we good enough? And we came from the poor side of town, and I think that's how a lot of guys are feeling right now.
They have a lot of excellent credentials to be considered, and they have been considered. Unfortunately, in the process they've been involved in, there's been a stronger team.
This letter may have something to do with it. It was written 6 years ago by McGinnis, a white pitcher, and Downey, a black second baseman. The team had been rejected a number of times by 2001, and their frustration came through loud and clear in this letter written in April that year. It was sent to the chairman of the selection committee, and I was told by a couple of former members of that committee they were quite offended by it.
McGinnis and Downey felt that if the team was ignored again, it could only be a case of racial prejudice, or because the players were from the wrong side of town, and they threatened to go to the media.
It's unfortunately that somebody would want to put it in that particular light. There's no question that the committee I have great confidence in, that would never enter into the picture when we select a team and or an individual.
The team is not in the running in 2007. It has to sit out a year between nominations, and the clock's ticking. 2 of the guys have passed away. There's still hope, though. The Sport Hall of Fame is expanding, so maybe when the team is eligible again, there'll be a corner or a shelf for the Vaughan Furriers, the 1962 Maritime Junior Baseball champs. Rick Grant, CTV News, Halifax.
Photography in that item by our cameraman Steve Gomes, Pat Kennedy, and Cyril Worth. Edited by Elliot Ingram and reported and produced by Rick Grant. Still ahead on our broadcast, good news for women considering hormone replacement therapy. HRT therapy in the form of a patch may reduce some of the risks associated with the treatment. We'll have more on that for you next in the Lifeline here on CTV News.